Hello and welcome back to the port. I'm the Galloping Major, and with Season 5 ranks now underway, allowing Tier 6 ships for the first time, we're going to rank the destroyers from worst to best in order for playing ranked. Now obviously, if you feel that you play better in a certain type of ship over the other, then obviously go for that one, as you'll be more experienced in playing that. But this is based off our opinions and discussions that we have done as a team. So let's start at number 5, the Russian destroyer Minsk. Now we've placed it down at the bottom simply because of her short torpedo range and her bad concealment. Her advantages are going to be her guns, her DPM and her speed. However, this gives you a good advantage in getting to an objective. However, I think you're going to be at a disadvantage in able to hold that objective really. You haven't got sonar, you've got limited smoke screens, and they're going to be big smoke screens, and then the enemy destroyers are going to see you first, which means that in a DD versus DD combat, it's going to be quite easy for them just to spot you and stand off and let the cruisers pick you off. So what you're probably going to find with this is you're going to be almost like nipping into an objective, grabbing it and nipping out, and maybe if you can find an isolated destroyer, then you might be picking on it. Also, probably later on in the game, once the number of DTs per team has reduced, you're going to be finding that because your short torpedo range and your mouth concealment, you won't be able to approach enemy battleships or cruisers. So therefore, you may find yourself being a bit less useful later in the game, with your main purpose probably turning towards being a spotter for your allied cruisers and destroyers and battleships, rather than actually being able to interdict and be a torpedo boat. At number 4, we have the Akatsuki. So we've placed her at number 4. You may think is being quite odd. I mean, she's very good torpedoes, do a lot of damage with those torpedoes. Also really good concealment, meaning that you're going to be at an advantage when you move into an objective. But it's really the downside of the Akatsuki is your slow DPM and very low health. What that means for us is that when you move into an objective in order to contest it or hold it, you don't have the kind of staying power when you bump into the enemy's DD, and then you're going to be quite easily to dispatch. I mean, the last season of Ranked, I dispatched so many Fubukis simply because of the reason of their guns being slow to reload, slow to traverse, so therefore they don't have that kind of DPM, and then their bad maneuverability also really hindered them. Their only real advantage is their torpedoes and their concealment, which would tempt someone who plays them to go after the battleships and go hunt them down. But what that means is you're not really holding the objective for your team, or not really. You find that you won't be pushing the objective so much because you'll be living in that little bit of fear of what happens if I bump into an enemy destroyer. Because if you bump into an enemy destroyer and you're rounding the objective, you're going to be caught with your trousers down. So that's why we've placed the Akatsuki at number 4. She's not a bad ship, don't get me wrong there, but I think when it comes to ranked and the kind of things that you're being expected to do at ranked, she's not really the right tool for the job. At number 3, we have the Benson. Now, the Benson does seem to have a bit of a mixed bag of tricks once you have her fully upgraded. Once you have her fully upgraded, you can stealth torpedo, however the torpedoes do a reduced amount of damage, so you're going to have to get a lot of torpedoes on target in order for them to be effective. Your guns, you have a really quick traverse speed, a really quick rate of fire, and the best DPM for the tier. So if you end up bumping into an enemy destroyer, you're going to be able to dispatch them quite quickly. But her downsides, I guess you could say, are going to be her concealment. Because of her concealment, you're probably going to be bumping into a lot of other destroyers first. The only ones that you'll be bumping into first, or more like seeing first I should say, would be like the Minsk. Apart from that, everyone else is going to see you first, and they're going to turn tail and run, and they're going to spot you for the enemy cruisers in order to dispatch you really quickly. And then I guess you've also got that disadvantage of you don't have sonar. Having sonar is can be really make or break, especially in ranked where we're expecting destroyers to move into an objective, grab it, hold it, spot enemy ships that are interdicting onto that objective if possible, and also trying to like push the enemy destroyers away. Obviously, if you're not backed up, you're going to have to fall back, unfortunately. But with at the start of the game where you may encounter enemy destroyers before the rest of their teams manage to catch up, Benson will be quite good at dispatching those enemy destroyers. But once the game's developed, I think you're going to find yourself at a bit of a disadvantage, not having sonar in order to push enemy destroyers in smoke or be able to dodge torpedoes. So that's where we placed her at number 3. Now I know what you're all thinking, we haven't seen the Gervais yet, and we all know that the Gallifrey Major is incredibly British bias. So let's see if Gervais comes in at number 1. So at number 2 we have the Gervais. Yes, I was overruled by the rest of the team, and I had to put the Gervais in at number 2. The reason why the Gervais is in at number 2 is she is a good all-rounder. She does have that defensive sonar which will last 3 minutes. She has the second best DPM for the tier. She's got reasonable torpedo range, and so she seems like a generally all good rounder. Nothing really to fault her. I think what you're going to be finding with Gervais is they're going to move into the objective. If they come across an Akatsuki, they're going to be able to dispatch her. Against a Minsk is going to give her a bloody nose. So's a Mass. Benson will probably dispatch a Gervais. But apart from that, I can see Gervais as being quite good at digging in, using their multiple smokes in order to try and hold an objective. It's going to be my go-to destroyer, simply because I only play British ships most of the time. But yes, what that does mean is that only leaves one more ship at number 1. So here we are at number 1. It's the Germans with the Mass. Now the reason why we placed her at number 1 is really, it's due to her offensive sonar. It means that she's going to be able to get into a objective, and she's going to be able to pop on her sonar, which will have a duration of 90-ish seconds, and it'll have a detectability range of 4.2. So that's going to be more than the British, which are going to have a range of 3.5. So this means that a Mass is going to be quite a good destroyer hunter. She is going to be able to get into an objective. She's going to be able to maybe force someone to smoke, and then she can push a smoke screen, and she can sit outside of anyone else's detectability range and just keep firing. So although she does come with quite like a mid-level DPM, so officially DPM wise she's worse than the Minsk, a Gervais and a Benson, because of that offensive sonar she's going to be able to get the upper hand in quite a lot of like close quarters engagements when inside an objective. So the Mass is just generally, she's a really good all-rounder. Basically on paper, comparing her to the Gervais, the reason why we've decided we'd go for the Mass as number 1 is simply because of that more offensive sonar. So that's tier 6 destroyers for ranked from worst to best for this season's ranked. Now we have omitted the premium destroyers simply because not everyone is willing to invest into the game, and not all the destroyers are available. Things like the Ishasho were a campaign reward or something you could earn in the campaign, therefore it's no longer available. So we feel that ranking in the premiums, which people may not want to purchase or people don't actually have, is a bit unfair really. So by ranking the tech tree destroyers, everyone's got access to them, and therefore if you've got them you can kind of work out whereabouts we would rank them. Now if you're good at them, you'll be good at them, worth a punt really. But if say you've got multiple of them, or you've managed to just unlock a couple of them, you can then use this guide in order to help you maybe pick one of them if you're a little bit indecisive. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this review. I'm the Gallifrey Major, and back to the port.